Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today I just want to talk about a very important subject in 3D, especially for beginners. Okay, I'm going to talk about blockouts. Blockouts, what are blockouts, the importance of blockouts, and how we get to establish them in our 3D work. Okay, so what are blockouts? Okay, let me bring up my pen. Let me create a new layer. This, I'll bring it up. Yeah. So, what are blockouts? So, blockouts are simply primitives. Okay, they're simply primitives that we use to the primitives that we use to establish form. Okay, so these are just primitives that we use to establish form, and by form I mean the mesh of the object. So let's say, for example, you have what can I say? Okay, let's say you have okay, I'm just giving an example. You've got a small car, small car. This is something rough. Yeah. So this is our form. Okay, this is our design. We want our design to take up this form. We want it to look like this. So the form is more like a structure. It's a structure actually. you know that is what the form is. So these primitives enable us to create this form. Okay, so it may be like we know in a 3D package there are primitives like a cube, which is more like which is a box. We have got a cylinder. We have got a what is we got a sphere and so many other primitives. Okay, so if and the plane, yeah, and the plane. Okay, so if let's say you were to look at this, like this car is quite complex. This is quite a complex model. Yeah, it's quite a complex model. But if you look at it, it resembles a cube. It resembles a cube. It resembles the shape of a cube. How a cube looks like. So what you can start to do is you can create more like you can create a cube. You can create a cube, something like that, and then you can extrude parts of the polygons like so. Then you can also extrude some polygons like so, and then you can just move this vertice there. Okay, this is the cube. This is how we actually do our modeling in 3D, right? Yeah, so we can just move our vertice from that point to there, and then we can see like we have a form there. See, it's just that simple, something like that. Yeah, it's not that simple. Okay, so it's just a general idea of what primitives do. We simply manipulate these primitives in order to establish the base form of the uh, object that we want to create. Okay, and then it is from this primitive or blockout that we can now start adding in our details, like the doors, like the tires. We start adding in all those kinds of details to our model. That is all that the blockouts do, or that is what blockouts are. They help us to establish form. Okay, So let's go to this second one. Okay, this one. Why are they important? Why are these blockouts important? Okay, so blockouts are important because they enable us to break, you know, you break models into small manageable manageable pieces. I hope you're able to read my handwriting. Yeah, so they enable us to break complex parts into small pieces that we can be able um to work on. Okay, so I've got an example here down here of some work that I did just a few months ago. So I've got a Mac and I've got this more like a camera, though it was wrongly textured, but okay, it's okay. Let me just zoom in. So if you look at this Mac, if you look at this Mac, yeah, this Mac has got so many parts, and when you look at it as a beginner, you'll be like, where do I start from? How do I get to do this? How do I make this whole thing? It becomes so tedious to do. Okay, so by establishing the blockouts, we can be able to create or break this make into manageable parts that we can work through part in part, you know, something like that. And you can break these pieces to say, okay, I'm going to start with this part, then I'll move on to this part, then go back and do all that. That's what blockouts enable you to do. You're able to break this big thing into small parts, then work on them independently, and then assemble them into this whole big thing. Okay, so now we have talked about the importance of this. So how do we set up, how do we set up how do we set up how do we establish this blockouts in our modeling? How do we? So let's say, for example, I'll use the same example. Let's say you want to create a make and to create a make. Okay, let me zoom in. Yeah, let's say you want to create a make like this one. You can see that there's so many parts here. So the first thing that you can do when you are trying to establish the blockouts, okay, I think let me change this to black. Yeah, the first thing that you can do is compare the model or parts of the model to the primitive shapes, okay, the primitive shapes that you have in your 3D package. So you look at them, if they look like some, maybe parts look like a cube, if some parts look like a cylinder, if some parts look like a sphere, you just examine, you examine the whole model, just look at it, just look at it, yeah. So after you have done your examination, so like in this case, in this model, we can see that I think these parts around it, these uh, resemble a cylinder. These resemble a cylinder. So why not start with a cylinder? It's that simple. Why not start with a cylinder? Just create a cylinder for this and create a cylinder for that. Of course, you just have to create one and then duplicate it. You just have to create one cylinder, and then that cylinder is what you're going to manipulate after. Okay, if you look at this form here, if you look at this thing which is holding this these cannons, you can you can see that it resembles something like looks like something like a rectangle. Okay, it looks like a rectangle. So why don't we just start with a cube? You know, start with a cube. Yeah, if you look at these guns, it's all the same thing. If you look at them, they have got these flat surfaces and then they have got this squarish thing. This look like a cube. Why don't you just start with a cube? So you just begin to look at the shapes and then look at how can I start the shape? How can I block out? How can I? What is the establishing shape of this thing? So if you look at this if you look at this torso here, the angle is just bad. Okay, but if you look at it, you have got this part and then we have got this here, like there's a chamfer here, that you have got this flat part in front, you've got a chamfer over here, and then we have got another flat part. This looks like something familiar. Yes, it does. It looks like a cube. You know, looks like a cube. So all this is done at your planning stage. You know, before you actually start modeling, before um, you 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 even open your 3D modeling app, make sure you have got an idea of how you're going to set up your primitives. Okay, so if you look at this, if you look at these joints, clearly you can see this looks like a cylinder. So I'm going to put a cylinder there. I'm going to create a cylinder somewhere there. You know, this also has got straight lines, also the flat surface. Okay, this looks like a cube. I can just scale up the cube, then it forms this. You know, so you're blocking out at this point. You're creating blockouts, and when you move to your 3D packaging software, it will just be an easy thing. You know, so you look at your model and compare what um what parts look like what primitive. Of course, there are cases where some parts, like in organic modeling, which don't really look like the shapes, so you have to do some modeling, maybe from a plane or using some special tools, yeah, in the 3D package, you know, to create those forms, you know. But this is the basic idea. You know, this is the basic idea, identifying how the parts look like, you know. So if I bring out another example like this one, it's much simple. I think if I bring out this example, if you look at this part, if you look at this already, we can see that we have got something like a circle, which is joined by, you know, by two surfaces, and then we can see that there's a rounding there. This looks like a cylinder. So already we've already established that we're going to put a cylinder here. So from the cylinder, that's where we are now going to come in and do our intrusions, our extrusions, and create all the details that we want onto the model. Okay, so if you look at down here as well, this is also a cylinder. So you put in a cylinder here. You look at the other part, this looks like a cylinder. Put in a cylinder. And at this point, you're not looking at the details. You're not going into the details creating these things. You know, you're just establishing how this thing is going to look like. You know? Okay, let me take you to Cinema 4D. Okay, this is an older version of Cinema 4D, but sure to be able to give you an idea. Okay, so let's say we had the cylinder. So we have a cylinder there. We have a cylinder, and then we can rotate. We are trying to create that little model that we just saw. Okay, something like that, let's bring it up, and then let me bring up my, yeah, and then I can create this editable, then I can scale this. Okay, trying to create that camera thing. Okay, so you bring in your primitive there, then you look at, you said, oh, this looks like a cylinder, so looks like a cylinder. So what do? You come into your program again, you create another cylinder. You know, create another cylinder, make it smaller. I think make it smaller like that, and then bring it down like that. you're trying to create a blockout of your wig, make a copy of this. That one looked a little bigger. That is, this one down here looks a little big, so you also bring this one like something like so. Okay, you're blocking out at this point. Okay, you're blocking out, you're blocking out. And then what else is there? Okay, we have got something like this. We have got this thing. How can we create this? This looks like if you look at it, this looks like a square. Look at this, looks like a square. We've got a line here, we've got a line here, we've got a line there. Okay, this looks like a square. I think this can be made as a cube. We can just bring this down, bring this down, then we can also bring this down like that and like that. This is now you thinking in your head, even sketching if possible, and then you create a line there, and then we're going to bring this line out, bring it out. This is now you're doing your sketching, and this is just your sketching point. You haven't done any details at this point. You are still working on your model. Okay, this is some messages that are coming in on my phone. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so you can bring in so what you can do is you can bring in a cube at this point. Bring in a cube. Okay, bring it down like that. Okay, we have a cube there. Okay, something like that. I think this is big. You can squash it up a little bit and then you bring it up, go into your side view. This is you sketching now. You're just trying to create the base form of what you're trying to create. Okay, so I think this should be something like this big. I think it should just be that big. Yeah, it should be shouldn't really that bad. Yeah, create something like that. Okay, so what can I do from here? I think let me add a card here. Let me add a card so I can make this editable. Or yeah, you can go in destructively as you see it in other software. Yeah, then you can create a loop card. Let me see, why am I not creating a loop card? Why can't I create a loop card? Okay, okay, I can create a card like that. Okay, then what do I do is come to this part and extrude. Okay, let me bring this off. Okay, it should be like that. Yeah, then you just bring this part over here. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Then what's the next thing that we can do is just delete these other cubes. Okay, just delete these things. We don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them. Okay, yeah. So already at this point, before we even go anywhere, already at this point we can see that we have already created our base here. We've already created our base for us to start adding our details. This is our basic form. So if we want to create this, we can just extrude that out. Okay, we can just go in there, hold this and extrude this just like that. So now it is from this part where we can add things like an extrusion. Let me see if my extrusion can work. Is it working? Not sure. Okay, I need to bring this up. I'm not sure if it's in the right direction or it's in my wrong direction. Okay, not sure why it's not working, but that's just the general idea. It's a general idea that is going on there. That's the general idea. So from that point you can now start coming in. You come to your model. How can I do this? Go to my edit, select everything, come in. you now come in, and then you now start creating all these. You start creating your insets, then you start creating your extrusions. You now start giving it that detail. All these things just come from simple blockouts like this. Just a blockout. So this is why blockouts are important, and that's how you can get to establish a blockout. So once you get this into your mind, once you get this into your mind, so the way you look at modeling is going to change. Okay, so you won't be so much be worried about creating um, complex models at once. You'll be able to break them down into some manageable pieces, and then you can be able to start your modeling from there. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Always make sure to break down your models through blockout, and have fun. Okay, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, guys. I need your support so that I can continue to create more content like this. So see you on the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching.